Welcome to this year's Meet the Candidates. My name is David Ademo. I serve as the president of the Montgomery County Regional Student Government Association, or MCR. MCR is an organization where high school student leaders can come together to collaborate, share ideas, and develop leadership skills. We also represent Montgomery County's high school students in important policy discussions at the local and state level. And, in partnership with the Board of Education, we conduct the annual election for Student Member of the Board of Education, or SMOB. In just a moment, you'll meet this year's two candidates for Student Member of the Board: Alex Abrasimov, a sophomore at Richard Montgomery High School, and Eric Gersey, a junior at Bethesda Chevy Chase High School. These two candidates were selected at the annual SMOB nominating convention on February 22nd at Watkins Mill High School. More than 350 student delegates from 45 middle and high schools heard speeches and answers from a field of 4 candidates. The convention ultimately nominated Eric Gersey and Alex Abrasimov, who will be on the general election ballot on April 27th. If you will not be at school on April 27th, you will also have the opportunity to participate in early voting. Speak with your school's SGA advisor or administration for more information. Before you meet these two candidates, it is important to understand the role of the SMOB. As numerous members of the Board of Education have agreed, the student member plays a very important role. He or she is one of 8 members on the board and can vote on every matter except for the operating and capital budgets, the closing of a school, or negative personnel, the dismissal of a staff member. The SMOB still participates in discussions on those important issues. In choosing who you vote for, I urge you to consider that individuals' stances on different policy issues and their ability to represent students like you on the Board of Education. Today, MCPS faces a number of challenges and opportunities. Pending approval of a final contract, we will have a new superintendent of schools before the start of the next school year. The student population is growing at an unprecedented rate. MCPS has just changed the school start time schedule and final exam policy. And we are still in the first years of implementing new Common Core education standards in our state, and soon states across the nation will deal with new changes to federal education law. This is an important task for each and every one of our 80,000 voters. Montgomery County is one of a few jurisdictions with a SMOB who is truly an equal with the other members of the Board of Education. To stay up to date on the election, go to www.mcrsga.com or like the MCR SGA page on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. The format of the discussion will be as follows. We'll have 3 minutes of opening statements, 10 minutes of general questions for the candidates, and 6 minutes of questions based on the platforms of individual candidates. Then, candidates will have 4 minutes to ask each other questions, and then they will present closing statements. The questions have not been shared with the candidates ahead of time. So, let's meet our candidates. Let's get started with our opening statements. We'll begin with a 90-second statement from our first candidate, Alex Abrasimov.
Hey everyone, I'm Alex Abrasimov and I'm running for SMOB. Since we don't have much time, I will cut out the political talk and get real. Most of us, me included, did not think that the SMOB did anything to directly impact us as students, and very little change has been made. That's why I want to redefine the role of the student member. I want to be the first SMOB that helped set up a mixer dance between 2 high schools, the first SMOB to call out our school lunch system, and the first SMOB to tell you straight up exactly what I can do to close the systematic issue of the achievement gap. This past year, I have observed how little students' lives were impacted by actions of our past student members, and my primary purpose for running is to revolutionize the role of SMOB itself, enabling our student leaders to set up programs like I did. For example, bringing food trucks to every possible school. My campaign has been about looking at our problems from the perspective of the students, not politicians. As students, we are constantly being talked at, not with. When we start to engage more students, they will be more in sync with what happens after our SMOB is done campaigning. we can hold our leaders accountable and start producing visible results. I know we can't expect every student to be hip about every policy, but we can take a step back and realize that taking the same approach we always have been has had no significant impact on the achievement gap, no impact on our school lunches, and most importantly, no visible impact to the students. As SMOB, I will shatter the barriers of bureaucracy and work towards my vision of a far more united student body.
Thank you. Our next opening statement will come from our second candidate, Eric Gersey.
Just a short year ago, you entrusted me with the honor of serving as your SMOB. When you elected me, we sent a clear message that you didn't want the status quo and the same old issues of a disappearing SMOB and a lack of action. You wanted real change, vibrant communication, and someone to unify our student body to achieve shared victories. Together, we have accomplished long-needed reforms to create an education that works for all of us. We eliminated final exams, delayed school start times, and improved the calendar. We made incredible progress while putting students at the center of change. That's why I'm running for another term. This election is our chance to continue our wave of momentum, to take back our education. And today, I'm asking you to believe in our shared ability to transform MCPS. Because my term as SMOB hasn't been about me, it's been about you, your beliefs, and your desire for tangible change. That's why I've prioritized communication, starting the SMOB Minute videos, sending out unprecedented letters, and visiting a historic number of schools to meet you personally so that our student voice is heard above all. We have come too far to turn back now. Now is the time to secure more victories for our student body, to continue to elevate the student voice, expand technology, and ensure that all of us have the opportunities to succeed in our great county. Together, let's keep moving MCPS forward. Thank you.
Let's get started with our questions. I will first ask my question to Eric, who will have 30 seconds to respond, and then Alex will have 30 seconds to respond as well. Our first question is, what issue are you most passionate about, and what specific steps will you take to improve it?
My term as SMOB has been all about empowering the student voice, because we know that when the student voice is strong, our county is strong. And when our county is strong, that means that we're tackling issues like closing the achievement gap, expanding open lunch, and ensuring that students have after-school activities that suit their individual needs. That's why every single day I go out into the community and speak with students, face-to-face, through town halls, in efforts to increase the power of the student voice so that as students, we are at the center of our school system. Thank you.
Alex?
I think the most important issue facing us right now is the lack of student voice. We cannot solve any problem in our county without having student input. At our school and in many other schools, I have created a student union with hundreds of members, which has largely been successful. It has had clear and real impacts on the student body, and I will continue this as my next SMOB. We need to empower SGAs legitimately and keep them accountable for their actions so that we don't see a pattern of SGAs not being involved every day with what our students really want.
Thank you. Our next question will be answered first by Alex. Many students in our county suffer from depression, anxiety, and related mental health issues. How can the system better support these students?
Well, first of all, we need to train our teachers and staff to understand the signs of mental anxiety, mental depression, and other mental illnesses. There's a bill currently going through the Maryland House of Representatives that will help fund these measures, and I'm in full support of it. Also, I believe that the students themselves need to understand the severity of these issues, and I will work tirelessly to expand the advocacy and awareness of these issues as SMOB.
Eric?
As SMOB, mental health has been something that I've been proud to champion for you. We all know how hard it is to have access to our counselors when we need them. There's often long waits to get to our counselors, or they say, I can't see you right now. Something that I was proud to champion on behalf of you was $45 million extra in our budget to increase the number of counselors and school psychologists in our schools so that we have the access and support to the services that students need. And we shouldn't be ignoring mental health issues, because if we're not mentally right, then we're not going to be succeeding in the classroom every single day, and we need all of our students to be both well mentally and to succeed in the classroom.
Thank you. Our next question. Student achievement differs by race, income, and geographic location. What should we do to narrow the achievement gap?
In MCPS, we are often considered one of the best educational systems in the country. However, the growing achievement gap between white and Asian students and African American and Latino students is a stain on our record of excellence. But the achievement gap isn't only racial, it's also socioeconomic, and too many students who don't have the funds at home to support themselves are being left behind. Make no mistake, every single year that the achievement gap is growing, we are failing too many of our students. As SMOB, I will continue to lead a coalition of students, staff, and parents to combat the achievement gap with real and lasting solutions. I'm also proud to have championed with the Minority Scholars Program, which is a great program that has access to student leaders tackling the achievement gap in our schools.
Thank you, Eric. Alex?
You know, I'll be completely real. If given the same opportunities, students of every race and all walks of life achieve very similarly. This is a systematic problem that goes beyond half measures. We cannot chip away at the corners of this problem. We need to solve things from the bottom up. Our district lines are drawn with complete disregard, and we need to change that. We need to create a task force of every single student possible to champion this. And I will do it as your next SMOB. I will not just do half measures. I will take the fight straight to the root of the problem.
Thank you. Our next question starts with Alex. Do you support the changes to final exams that are going into effect next school year? Why or why not?
I support any cuts to testing because I believe that students should not be taught to the test, and I think that students need to be taught by an individual approach. That being said, I think that the initiatives were not communicated to the students well, and the students who were relying on exams and were studying for them were not taken into account properly. I also think that the option chosen with the 2 exams every semester as opposed to 1 was not the correct path forward. That being said, once again, testing should be greatly reduced.
Eric?
This year, as your SMOB, one of the big initiatives that we worked on together was to reduce testing in our classroom, to create a system where we are not numbers, but we are innovators. And as SMOB, what I did was I reached out to you through social media, through my new website, smoberic.com, which had forums, to engage students in the decision-making process centered around this final exams. But what I'm most committed to doing in these upcoming months is creating a grading system that works for us. The current grading system, which I've held roundtable discussions about, is a system where if you go A, B in a class or B, A in a class, then you would get an A in that class so that every student can have a friendly grading system in our schools.
Thank you. The next question. How would you engage students, especially underrepresented groups, in discussions about the education system?
The SMOB is not just the representative of a few students, whether in the SGA or in any other group in their school. The SMOB is the representative of every student, regardless of race, background, or socioeconomic status. That's why as your SMOB, I have been the champion of students of all backgrounds, all races, and all desires. And what I'm doing that is through going out to your schools, talking with you one-on-one in your classroom or in the hallway to discuss the issues which matter to you and to get things done for our student body.
Alex?
This year, we heard a lot of talk. Admittedly, polished and good talk, but not a lot of action. There's a big difference between political talk and real, concise, and clear action on these problems. I will actually discuss these problems with the students and empower student leaders locally at each SGA to take things from the bottom up and create a movement as opposed to doing the top-down approach that we have seen this year.
What issues do you think are not discussed enough in MCPS, and how would you address them?
Well, I think the issues that are not discussed are the systematic ones. We can cut around the corners for some things. We can, discuss issues like achievement gap, but we're not dig deep enough to find the root of the problem. I will dig deep, and I will make a task force of every single student possible to let out a clear path forward instead of just doing half measures.
Eric?
Too often in our daily school lives, things that can seem so small have such a big impact on our daily experience. That means things like toilet paper that's too thin or water fountains that don't work. That's why I care about every single one of your concerns, big or small, as I go out into the community and look at these problems in your schools. I fought for a 2-ply solution on toilet paper, for example, or to improve school lunches and to get sensors so that you can use your water bottle and put it under a water fountain to improve the quality of the little things that will make our experience in school that much better. Thank you.
Thank you. How do you think we can improve extracurricular activities in schools across the county, especially for schools with fewer resources?
Whatever our passion is, whether it's arts, humanities, athletics, all of us should have the ability to fulfill our potential in these fields. This is often what drives us to go to school every day, empowered with these opportunities. And as your SMOB, I've been out in your schools, and I want to continue to be out in your schools to understand the individual interests so that we can tailor after-school and extracurricular programs to your school, your wants, and your desires. Thank you.
Alex?
Well, we need to fund them, of course. If our programs aren't funded the way that the students need them, not the way we arbitrarily decided to fund them, then we cannot have real progress. We need to change the way we fund things and impose a grant program instead of funding things however we want. We need to fund things based on the students' needs, and we need to do it from the bottom up locally instead of doing a one-size-fits-all top-down approach.
What, if any, policies do you think are most problematic in MCPS, and how do you think we should address or change them?
The top-down approach to students' needs and to student advocacy. I believe that the students have many great things to say, and I think that education is primarily geared towards us. This is our future, and we need to be able to voice it. And when we are discouraged every day by adults in our county and told that we cannot speak our mind because of arbitrary rules set in place, then we can never have true progress and a true movement. I want to create a real movement, and that's how I'm going to solve this issue.
Eric?
There are certainly some issues in our county and some policies that can be affected right away. For example, we're often placed emphasis on AP, IB testing, SAT, and ACT testing. Something that I want to adopt from other counties is making all of these programs free for students who are often being held back because of the extraordinary cost that these tests inflict. We also need to look at testing as a whole and workload and reduce testing and workload, because in too many schools, too many students are overburdened with these necessities but also these strains on our lives as everyday students.
Thank you. What do you think of having school resource officers in our schools?
We need to create a school system where we feel safe in our schools, and school resource officers play an integral role in this aspect of our school lives. However, it's not only at schools, but it's also on things like the Wi-Fi networks, which need to be improved, but at the same time, we're not sure if on the Wi-Fi networks, if we're texting or Snapchatting or using Instagram, if that data can be seized. So it's creating a culture of safety, not only on the ground, but also in the 21st century world that we live in today. Thank you.
Alex?
We need to keep our schools safe. I 100% agree. We also need to make sure these officers are sensitive to the issues that the students care about, whether it be racial issues or socioeconomic. We need to make sure these officers have the proper training, especially in the light of the things we have seen in the past year. We need to make sure that these officers are ready to work with the students, not just at them. Thank you.
Thank you. Many student members of the board have created new initiatives outside of their official duties as a board member. As SMOB, what kinds of additional projects would you develop?
Well, I already have created a lot of projects on the side. I created a student union with hundreds of members. And in January, if many of you can remember, there was a snowstorm, and I created a petition that got over 10,300 students to sign it. It was a movement. It was a true movement to get things moving in our county. Because when 10,000 students agree on something, that means there needs to be something changed. And I'm going to fight for that on the side and a SMOB forever.
As SMOB, I've created some powerful initiatives this year, like the SMOB Minute, and going out and multiplying the number of student town halls. However, we must continue to do more with communication, which is why I want to create an app or a portal on the Google Classroom so you can connect with me, and also create an app on your mobile device, because we know that we're living in a mobile world today. It's also important to understand the grassroots concerns of every single one of your schools, and I'll continue to be in your schools, planning school visits to every school to accomplish the goals that you want to see in your schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next section are questions that are based specifically on what candidates have said and placed in their election platforms. We're going to begin with a question directed toward Eric. Eric, you've mentioned getting turf field funding for every high school many times during your campaign. How would you respond to the concern that this money should go toward programs that affect a wider range of students?
We have over 33,000 student athletes in our program, each of these students holding dear their performance on the field or on the court. These are extracurricular activities that impassion our students to go to school every single day. But we're never deciding the way that the budgets are set up in MCPS between hiring a teacher or building a field and rebuilding a school. So I'm also committed not only to athletes, but also artists, humanities students. Every student, every walk of life deserves to have your extracurricular program funded in your school.
Alex, you have 30 seconds to respond.
I agree. We need to focus on every single student. That's why I believe that this funding is greatly misguided. Instead of turf fields, which have many inherent problems with them, why don't we build something for our athletes like a state-of-the-art weight room with treadmills and everything so that students with lower income can enjoy them as well instead of buying a gym membership? We have to make priorities. And when there are schools like Damascus and schools in the Down County Consortium with Kennedy and middle schools that are literally falling apart, I think we have to set our priorities clear.
Thank you. Alex, you've mentioned food trucks frequently while campaigning. How do you think we can help our significant student population that relies on free and reduced meals?
Well, food trucks actually help students on free and reduced meals greatly. This is for the reason that food trucks, first of all, decongest the lunch room. Second of all, they bring better quality and less expensive lunches to the students right up to the school. And third of all, I think that school lunches are a moral issue, and we should not be feeding our students who depend on these lunches from free and reduced meals the quality of the food that we have been feeding them over the past several years. It is completely unacceptable, and our school lunches need to be greatly reformed.
Eric, you have 30 seconds.
I'm also committed to reforming school lunch, but I haven't just talked about it, I've taken action for you, meeting with the people who have a direct impact on the quality of your school lunches, and as in the next few months we unroll a plan to greatly revolutionize these school lunches. It's also important to understand with the way that the legislative system is set up that right now food trucks at our schools are illegal, but I'm working with the state legislature and with the county council, the people who actually write the laws on these issues, to make them a reality in every single school. Thank you.
Eric, you've frequently mentioned individualizing education for students as well as defining students beyond numbers. As SMOB, what specific steps would you take to accomplish this?
We know that when we're overburdened with homework and testing, that we're often defined by numbers and looking at our grades or our SAT scores. We want to be defined by our ability to lead and learn in our school system. That's why I'm committed to continuing to cut down on testing, like the park testing, to minimize it to the extent possible, if not completely eliminate it in the state of Maryland. I'm also committed to working with our teachers to look at the way that they evaluate us and that we evaluate them, because we're the ones who understand the impacts that our teachers have in the classroom and they understand the impact that we're able to learn every single day. Thank you.
Alex?
We need to greatly reduce testing, greatly reduce homework burdens on our students, especially students from middle school and early stages of high school, because those are the vital years when we have individualized ourselves into education. But this year, we saw a top-down approach. One size fits all does not work, and I will revolutionize that. I will make everything catered directly to the students, as I have already done in the past at my school. Thank you.
Thank you. Alex, you've mentioned that school district lines create de facto segregation. As SMOB, how do you think you can improve this situation?
Well, look at our district lines. They're drawn pretty arbitrarily. We have a down-county consortium, a big lump of schools, Northeastern Consortium. Some of our districts are basically like Gaithersburg or Seneca Valley. They stretch from all the way from the top to the bottom of Montgomery County, having great times of commute. I believe we need a task force to look at these issues and say, look, we need to simplify these maps. We need to make them as simple as possible so that students can have a diverse area where they go to school and a diverse student population so that they can actually achieve well.
Eric?
I, too, am committed to ensuring that every single student can achieve in our county and is allowed to be in a school environment that works for every single one of them and that is diverse. However, I'm not in favor of moving students out of their schools, moving them to other schools to solve problems. I'm in favor of working with you in your schools, the individual needs of every single one of your schools, to understand how we can improve the culture of that individual school, not moving people around and looking at how we can move students from one school to another school. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll hear closing statements from our two candidates. We'll start off with Eric Gersey.
Next year, the challenges will be steep. With a new superintendent and millions of dollars of athletics, arts, and extracurricular funding at stake, you deserve a SMOB who doesn't shy away from challenges, but tackles them head on. We'll rise together because we believe that whatever our background, wherever we come from, we can achieve anything. I've fought tirelessly for you at the board table, but more importantly, I know what it means to be an everyday student just like you. This year, your voice has been my voice. Your priorities have been my priorities. And every one of your concerns, big or small, matters to me. And I won't stop fighting until we get middle schoolers the right to use their cell phones during improved school lunches, implement a bring your own device program in every school, and continue to reduce testing and homework. If you want a SMOB who cares about what you have to say, who fights for you at the board table, and who is in your schools, working with you to take our student voice to the top, then I ask for your vote so we can continue our wave of momentum of progress together. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Alex?
All right, now let's get real. I'm honored to be here today to share my vision that has already started to turn into reality. Every week, several food trucks come near our school during lunch to serve improved, better priced lunches to the students that help everyone. I've also helped implement these programs at other schools. It has been done, and it will be expanded to the county level if I am SMOB. Second, I started a student union with hundreds of members to fight for the student's voice from the bottom up. We have seen a lot of talking this year, most of it at us. Now it's time for us to be heard. I am confident in my ability to organize a movement. Many of you may remember the snowstorm in January. As you may know, my petition that week to close schools because of hazards got about 10,300 people supporting it. When we say things like expanding student voice, we have to mean them. It's a little deeper than running around from meeting to meeting and claiming to care about a student's problems. The real challenge of SMOB is never forgetting the student part of your title. And I promise that I won't. Thank you.
Now, I'd like to introduce Ratchet Agrawal. Ratchet is the Special Elections Administrator for the Montgomery County Regional Student Government Association.
Hi, my name is Ratchet Agrawal, and I'm the Special Elections Administrator for MCR, the countywide student government. This year, we made significant changes to the election, including more strictly enforced campaign spending rules to increase fairness and a more interactive debate on Meet the Candidates. Hopefully, you enjoyed this debate's style better than that of previous SMOB discussions. If you have any comments or questions about the election process, please let us know at mcrsga.com. The two candidates you just heard from want to represent you on the Montgomery County Board of Education. This is the election of a public official, so I urge you to take this election very seriously. All middle and high school students are eligible and encouraged to vote, even those with second semester senioritis like me. Exercising your right to vote is a major key to success. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Alicia Delon, and I would love to be your SGA president. I have seen Wooten change so much these past years, from the recent outbreak in indoor soccer, to the change in school start times, and of course, beating Churchill by a little bit to now a lot. But one thing that remains unwavering in this school is our ability to get back up despite everything we've been through. We've leaned on each other through the good times and the bad, and we've come out stronger because of that. I have learned the Wooten community strives best when we stand together. In the past, SGA has been criticized for not reaching enough of the population, and I agree. As president, I will make sure everyone has the opportunity to be heard. From my 3 years at Wooten, I have learned that all students, from the brainiacs, athletes, goofballs, and everyone in between, has something important to offer to our school. I want all of your voices to be heard. Yes, even if it includes hearing how much you disliked cereal as a homecoming theme. I've been on SGA since sophomore year and have worked closely with the officers to know I have the dedication and passion to properly serve as your president. I will put this school above everything and will give 110% into making Wooten even better than it already is. I've gone to staff personally and pushed for projects like getting music in the hallways every Friday and having a spring pep rally. The Wooten family has been there for me and made me into who I am, and for that reason, as cheesy as it may sound, I would love to be able to give back to you. This school means the world to me, so vote Alicia so I can make us even more proud to be Wooten Strong.
Hello, fellow Wooten students. As many of you may know, my name is Justin Pykosh, and I will be running for president of the Student Government Association. Wooten is a great school and deserves a great president, and I know I will be able to fulfill that role. I am experienced in SGA as I have been a member since my sophomore year. But more importantly, I am here to serve the whole student body. I aspire to make Wooten an even better school and will always be available to talk to any student about their opinions of the school, whether I know you or am going to know you. I will strive to have the input of all groups of people, whether you're into the arts, athletics, academics, or none of the above. As SGA president, I will work tirelessly to ensure the fact that our school has the best year possible, no matter if you are a senior or a freshman. Another goal of mine as president is to increase school spirit. I've already been chosen president of next year's barbecue club and plan on making the barbecues more fun than they have ever been before. Since the majority of our school is in this club, this will be a great way to increase our school's unity and spirit. So as I conclude, I encourage you to vote for me as I will be a great president. And like always, Wooten, have a great day.
Hi, I'm Charlie Eichberg, and I am running for Vice President of the Student Government Association. As some of you may know, I am running unopposed, meaning I am the only person running for this position. While some people might take this opportunity to sit back and presume victory while putting in the minimal amount of work, that is the exact opposite of what I plan to do. I am actually using this opportunity to go above and beyond as vice president to prove that I am deserving of this position, not just because my name is the only one on the ballot. I am currently one of 3 kids in the junior class that has been on SGA since the end of my freshman year. I know the system, I have worked hard, and I believe that my combination of experience and effort make me the ideal candidate to represent the Wootton student body. Along with SGA, I participate in several other school activities such as newspaper, sports, and National Honor Society. Having met so many different groups of people through these activities has allowed me to make a lot of connections that will help me represent the student body thoroughly. Thank you for your confidence in me as a leader with your vote. Next year is going to be a great one. Thank you.
Hi, Wootton. My name is Georgia Bartels-Newton. I am a junior, and I would be honored to serve as your SGA treasurer for the 2016-2017 school year. As you can see on your ballot, I'm the only candidate running for this position, so thank you in advance for your support. But I want you all to know that I take every single one of your votes very seriously. I am here to be your representative. As treasurer, one of my most important jobs is to handle the money that is used for all the projects the SGA will take on. Over the past year, I have shadowed the current treasurer on major projects, like all the purchases for Homecoming, Spirit Days, and the Spring Project. I have complete confidence that I will come in every day ready to work to the best of my abilities. In addition, simply being an officer, I have a whole new responsibility to be a leader that I'm thrilled to take on. Some of you may already know me, and some of you may be seeing my face for the first time right now. But my goal for the next year is that every single student here at Wootton, freshman or senior, feels as if they can come to me to express their wants, needs, and concerns. The beautiful thing about Wootton is that we are a medley of different backgrounds, different passions, and most importantly, different voices. I believe every voice here deserves to be heard. Whether it's setting up a meeting with the SGA, coming in to talk to me in person, or even sliding into my DMs or my Facebook messages, I want you to share your opinions with me, good or bad. My goal is to make Wootton a community in which every person feels safe, appreciated, and happy to come to school every day. I want to leave Wootton feeling that it is even better than when I came into it. Thank you for your time, your vote, and for your spirit. Go Patriots.
Good morning, my fellow Wootton students. My name is Abby McCann, and I am running to be your Student Government Secretary for the upcoming school year. Although I've only been on SGA since the beginning of junior year, I believe I would make an excellent representative of the student body. Throughout my years spent at Wootton thus far, I have participated in a wide range of extracurricular activities, varying from sports teams to academic clubs, and therefore fully understand the different needs and interests of my peers. If elected, I promise to promote positive change within the Wootton school environment and advocate for your wishes. Thank you, and remember to vote me, Abby McCann, for SGA Secretary.
Hi everyone, my name is Haruni Mendris and I'll be running for your sophomore class president. As the years go by, I notice the way of being successful becomes great, and at times we find it difficult. My purpose of becoming your class president is to introduce our class to a more exciting year. Being underclassmen, I think that more attention is put on the underclassmen. Vote for me and I'll push for an event for ourselves, such as fundraisers, school dances, or a movie night. Being a freshman this year, I have been a passionate advocate for our student body. I work well with people and I love to help. I can promise you with absolute certainty that I will try my best so your sophomore year in high school will be the best it can be. So vote for me, Haruni Mendris. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Elise Mitchell, and I'm running to be your class president for our sophomore year. There are many things we need to focus on next year to ensure the success of our class. A major thing is fundraising. We need to put a large focus on fundraising next year. It is crucial to the success of us to have a lot of money to be able to do the things that we want to do in our future, like prom. I have already helped plan and look forward to volunteering in our Election Day bake sale, which I believe will be a successful stepping stone to reaching a larger goal. But to make fundraisers work, we need to have a strong team backing them to plan and carry them out, which is why another thing I believe we should focus on is our planning group. This year, the team is rather small, and my hope for next year is that we'll have a larger group of people with a bigger commitment to be able to carry things out smoothly. What our class needs is someone to hold us together as one group, to put in maximum time and effort to ensure that we reach our full potential, and someone who cares about our future. I know that I am that person, and I know that if you vote for me, I can show this to you too, and that all your expectations for next year will not only be met, but exceeded. Thank you.
Hello, Wooten. My name is Claudia Pachano, and I'm running to be your class president. One big thing I bring to the table is experience. I was on the executive board for the Frost SGA all 3 years, and I was your class president this year. I know how to work with the Wooten staff to achieve common goals. For example, I was able to work directly with the head of the Maryland Board of Elections to run a voter registration drive here at Wooten. Secondly, I know how to get things done. With hard work and determination, the freshman class got second place on the homecoming float, beating out both the sophomores and the juniors. This is a huge accomplishment, not just for planning, but for our whole grade. We were also able to host a bake sale at the Travilla Giant to get funds for planning events and to fund school-wide activities. We are also having a bake sale during the Maryland primary up at Frost later this month. Furthermore, voting for me is like voting for yourself. I've made it a personal goal to listen to each one of your ideas and to see what would make our school a more comfortable and safe environment. From serving better lunches to getting new gym equipment or even small things like fixing up a water fountain, I will strive to push for all of your ideas. Thank you for giving me your time to listen to my plans for a better future. Have a good day.
Hello, class of 2019. My name is Zach Cassidy, and I'm asking for your vote to be the sophomore class vice president. Student government elections should not be a popularity contest. They should be about who has the skills, the drive, and the experience to make Wooten High School a better place for our great class of students. I am currently serving as the freshman class vice president. In that role, I help take charge of a very time-consuming and difficult project, building our freshman class float for the homecoming parade. We had less than 2 weeks to do it, and not a lot of people wanted to get involved because building the float consumed 2 entire weekends. But I wanted our class to start the year with a bang. Even though we were only freshmen, I wanted our class to be taken seriously at our first homecoming. And we were. I am proud to say that we got second place in the float competition at homecoming. I also spent many hours helping to raise money for our class and am planning other fundraisers this year. Now, let me tell you a little bit about me. I am fair, friendly, outgoing, and maybe a little bit funny. If you'll entrust me with your vote again, I will promise you that I will listen, learn, and continue to make the class of 2019 one of the strongest classes ever at Wooten. Specifically, we had very few people help out with our freshman planning this year, which meant the burden and the fun was experienced by only a handful of people. As vice president, I want to draw more people into this exciting process next year. I also have some great ideas for a sophomore dance, and we should aim for first place at all Wooten activities next year. I'm asking for your vote today so that next year can be even better than this one. Our class of students is filled with promise, and I promise you that as your vice president, I will bring new opportunities, unity, and yes, even greatness to our sophomore class. Thank you for your vote. Go class of 2019.
Sophomore year is widely regarded as the worst year of high school. It's hard, it's boring, and sometimes painful. It's not the first year, it's not the last year, and it's not an excruciatingly important year. Sophomore year is like being in the 7th grade. It's like being this middle child. It's not exciting, it's not extravagant, and most people find it quite sucky. Let's face it, high school gets gradually more upsetting, but if you stick with me for VP, I can make it exponentially better. We need a political revolution. All these millionaires and billionaires, they're making your homecoming expensive with their cereal. But if you stick with me for VP, that's not going to happen. Let me be the Biden to your Obama, and I can make it better. Vote Mina for VP.
In Yiddish, we have a word for those who go above and beyond the call of duty to make the world around them a better place. This word is mensch. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed staff members and valued classmates, it is a true honor to be voted into the same group as the intellectuals who are also running for office. I'm very pleased knowing that my opponents are as experienced and well-rounded as they are. That said, as you look at your ballots, I want you to ask yourself, am I voting for a mensch? Ask yourself, am I voting for someone who will go the extra mile, stay the extra hour, write the extra paragraph? Are you going to vote for a mensch? Are you going to vote for the friend, your friend, who's an ally, a prize fighter, a go-all-nighter, a doer, and perhaps, best of all, a mensch? I am Robert Summersberger, and if you are like me and you want an open lunch, a fair schedule, and a school that loves you as much as you love it, give me your vote. Give me your vote, because this race, my race, our race, is not about a good sentence on a resume. This is not just a fun activity that I happened upon. Vote Summersberger, because this is and shall be a groundwork laid for an educational future. Thank you for your time and your vote.
Fellow 9th graders at Wooten High School, I am Brian Myers, and I am in the running for being your class treasurer for 10th grade. As a proud member of this class, I want to and will be giving you all the best of my ability if elected as treasurer. I recognize that in this position, one must be focused, efficient, and willing to make several economic decisions. I would be a sterling treasurer because I am adept with solving problems related to finance. Money is not simply an object, it is a part of our daily lives that I will be able to manage accordingly with the stated requirements. The special events you love, like homecoming, not only need to be prepared, but economically balanced in a way that keeps the school's budget satisfactory while being a way for us to have the most fun and entertainment we can possibly have at a special event. My main goal is to personally attend to the needs and wants of every rising 10th grader throughout this upcoming school year, thoughtfully apply these inquiries into my decision making, and work as hard as I can to meet the needs of you all and the school budget. For those of you who do know me, I ask that you strive to support me in this election, and for those who do not know me, I hope that you will support me in this bid for my election when you vote, as I will support you all in the position of treasurer. Thank you for listening, class of 2019.
Hello everyone, my name is Xue Peng and I will be running for treasurer. I'm sure you're all thinking, why would I be a good treasurer? What differentiates me from the other candidates? For one, I'm good with money. What teenagers do you know that has more than $2,000 saved up from babysitting alone? Don't rob me, guys. The money's in a bank. I keep my money safe. I'm not impulsive. I don't blow my money on single purchases. I'm also a smart shopper. I buy things on sale. Also, a main characteristic of a treasurer is that they are good with money and they are excelling at math. Money requires math skills. I believe I am qualified in this way as well, due to my great experience with math. My math teachers can vouch for me. Simply put, I can do math. I have ideas on how to raise money. One fun way is through a raffle. Raffles are like lotteries. They're fun, they're like a gamble. People like taking chances. So we can make a great deal of money through this. We should allocate this money for dances and other fun student body organizations. No one wants to have their dance canceled because of a lack of funds. So fellow students, I implore you to please vote for me, Xue Peng. Vote for the money.
Good morning. Before beginning, I would like to thank you for your time. My name is Anisha Sampath, and it would be an honor to continue being your treasurer for the class of 2019. This past year, I was able to plan and implement many meetings, fundraisers, and organize freshman planning. This coming year, I hope to be able to continue and expand on this so that our class will be even more successful. It is my goal as treasurer to help all of us have a fun, eventful, and enjoyable experience at Wooten during our next 3 years here, and I hope to achieve this by continuing what I've laid the foundation for this year. In order for us to have wonderful events such as junior banquet and prom, we need to plan. As a class officer, I will continue to take leadership in the planning club and do everything I can to ensure that our time in high school is not wasted. With your help, we can all make sure that we have a successful high school experience, and that starts now. As your treasurer, I will make sure that our class is prosperous. Together, we can all make our high school experience an enjoyable one. I am Anisha Sampath, and I would love to continue being your treasurer. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Abigail Russ, and I want to be your sophomore class secretary next year at Wooten. As teens, we are passionate about certain things, like the music we listen to, but we evolve. How many of us loved Miley Cyrus a few years ago and now wouldn't go to one of her concerts even if we got a free ticket? As a part of our evolution, we are becoming more interested in our government. Although most of us cannot vote in the general election, we can vote for our representatives next year at Wooten. The question is, why do we vote for elected officials? We do so to have a voice. We do so to be empowered. And above all, we do so to attain change. Elect me. Elect me because as your friend and your secretary, I will go above and beyond to make our sophomore year amazing. I want to help you. I want to be your secretary and your voice. I am Abigail Russ, and I want to work for you. This is your opportunity to make the right choice, to make the right change, to choose me, Abigail Russ, to be your secretary. Thank you.